Spring foraging in North America is a journey of discovery that awakens our connection to the land and its bounty. As winter's grip loosens and new life emerges, foragers across the continent set out to harvest nature's first offerings. From the lush forests of the Northeast to the sun-drenched shores of Baja, California, spring presents a diverse array of edible plants, mushrooms, and seafood waiting to be discovered by those with keen eyes and adventurous palates. Let's begin our foraging journey in the Northeast, where the thawing landscape gives way to a treasure trove of early spring delicacies. In New York's Central Park, urban foragers can join wildman Steve Brill on guided tours from early March, where ginkgo biloba leaves and American persimmons are among the first finds of the season. As we move into April and May, the forests of the Adirondacks come alive with the emergence of ramps, also known as wild leeks. These pungent greens carpet the forest floor, offering a garlicky kick to spring dishes. Venturing into the Finger Lakes region of New York, Buttermilk Falls State Park becomes a forager's paradise. Here, under the guidance of experts like Sarah Kelson from FLX Wild, visitors can learn to identify a variety of edible plants and mushrooms. The damp forest floors and sun-dappled clearings provide ideal conditions for morel mushrooms, those prized honeycomb-capped fungi that send foragers on excited searches through the woods. As we move south into the Appalachian foothills, spring arrives earlier, and with it comes a different set of foraging opportunities. In the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, straddling Tennessee and North Carolina, foragers can find patches of ramps alongside streams and in rich, moist soil. It's important to harvest sustainably, taking only a small portion of each patch to ensure future growth. The park also offers a bounty of spring mushrooms, including the delectable chicken of the woods, with its bright orange, shelf-like fruiting bodies growing on oak trees. In the coastal Southeast, from the Carolinas down to Florida, spring foraging takes on a distinctly maritime flavor. Along the beaches and in the salt marshes, sea beans, also known as glasswort or samphire, begin to appear in April. These succulent, salty greens are a delicacy that can be enjoyed raw or lightly cooked. Inland in states like Georgia and Alabama, mulberry trees begin to fruit in late spring, offering sweet, juicy berries to those who know where to look. The Southeast also offers unique foraging opportunities in its diverse ecosystems. In Florida's Everglades National Park, spring brings the chance to harvest saw palmetto berries, which have been used for centuries by indigenous peoples for their medicinal properties. Further north, in the Piedmont region of North Carolina, wild strawberries can be found in sunny meadows and along forest edges from late April through May. As we continue our journey south to the Gulf Coast, the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico provide a different kind of foraging experience. In Louisiana's bayous, foragers can find dryad saddle mushrooms growing on fallen logs and stumps. These fan-shaped fungi, with their distinctive patterning resembling a saddle, offer a mild, cucumber-like flavor and are best harvested when young and tender. The Gulf Coast also offers abundant seafood foraging opportunities. In the shallow waters of the Florida Panhandle, spring is the perfect time to wade out and harvest scallops. These bivalves can be found in seagrass beds, their electric blue eyes giving away their location to observant foragers. Remember to check local regulations and obtain necessary permits before harvesting any seafood. Moving west into Texas, the hill country near Austin becomes a hot spot for spring foraging. Here, wild onions and garlic can be found in abundance, their slender green shoots poking up through the grass in open fields and along hiking trails. Foragers should be mindful of private property and always obtain permission before harvesting on any land. The Texas Hill Country also offers dewberries, a close relative of blackberries, which ripen earlier in the spring and can be found along roadsides and in abandoned fields. As we reach the southwest, the arid landscape presents unique foraging challenges and rewards. In New Mexico's Sangre de Cristo Mountains, spring snowmelt creates ideal conditions for morel mushrooms. These elusive fungi can be found in burn areas and near certain tree species, particularly cottonwoods. The region also offers prickly pear cactus pads, which can be harvested carefully with thick gloves and prepared as a nutritious vegetable. The southwest desert regions provide other distinctive foraging opportunities. In Arizona's Sonoran Desert, spring brings the blooming of the iconic saguaro cactus. While it's illegal to harvest any part of these protected plants, their fruit becomes available in early summer and is an important traditional food for the Tohono O'odham people. Foragers can learn about these cultural practices and participate in guided harvests with proper permissions. Continuing west to California's central coast, spring foraging takes on a coastal flavor. Along the beaches of the Highway 1 corridor, seaweed foraging becomes possible as winter storms subside. Companies like Marley Family Seaweeds offer guided tours where participants can learn about the various edible seaweeds, their nutritional benefits, and sustainable harvesting practices. From nori to sea lettuce, these marine plants offer a unique addition to the forager's spring bounty. Inland California offers its own foraging treasures. In the Sierra Nevada foothills, miners' lettuce carpets the forest floor in early spring. This delicate vitamin C-rich green was a valuable food source for gold rush miners, hence its name. Further north, in the Mendocino coast's pygmy forests, spring brings forth an abundance of huckleberries, a tart and flavorful relative of the blueberry. In the Pacific Northwest, including Oregon and Washington, spring brings an abundance of edible plants and mushrooms. The coastal forests of Olympic National Park are home to spruce tips, the bright green new growth of spruce trees that can be harvested in May and early June. These citrusy, resinous buds can be used to flavor teas, syrups, and even beer. Inland in the Cascade Mountains, morel mushrooms fruit in profusion, particularly in areas recovering from forest fires. The Pacific Northwest's rainy spring climate creates ideal conditions for a variety of edible mushrooms beyond morels. In the temperate rainforests of Oregon's Coast Range, yellowfoot chanterelles can be found fruiting later than their golden cousins, often well into spring. These mushrooms have a delicate flavor and aroma that makes them prized by foragers and chefs alike. As we move north into Alaska, the spring foraging season arrives later but with no less abundance. In interior Alaska, around Fairbanks, morel mushrooms typically appear from mid-June to late July, coinciding with the blooming of bluebells. The short but intense growing season in Alaska also brings forth a variety of edible greens, including fireweed shoots, which can be harvested before the plant flowers and eaten like asparagus. Alaska's coastal regions offer their own unique foraging opportunities. In southeast Alaska, around Sitka, spring low tides reveal beaches rich with edible seaweeds and shellfish. Bull kelp, with its long whip-like fronds, can be harvested and pickled or dried for later use. Beachcombers might also find gooseneck barnacles, a delicacy that requires careful harvesting from rocky shorelines. Crossing into Canada, the vast wilderness areas offer rich foraging opportunities. In British Columbia's Fraser Valley, spring brings the emergence of fiddleheads, the tightly curled young fronds of certain fern species. These emerald green delicacies, resembling the scroll of a violin, should be harvested sparingly and always cooked before eating. Moving east to Ontario, the shores of the Great Lakes provide ideal habitat for wild leeks and ostrich fern fiddleheads, while inland forests offer morel mushrooms to those willing to brave the black fly season. In Quebec, particularly around the Gaspé Peninsula, spring brings the opportunity to forage for sea rocket and goose-tongue greens along the coastline. These salt-tolerant plants offer a briny crunch to spring salads and are best harvested in May and early June before they become too tough. The boreal forests of northern Quebec are also home to a variety of edible berries, including cloudberries, which begin to flower in late spring, promising sweet fruits later in the summer. As we return to the United States and head to the Great Lakes region, the shores of Lake Michigan and Wisconsin become a forager's playground. In Door County, wild leeks carpet the forest floor in April and May, while the sandy beaches offer sea rocket and beach peas. Foragers should be aware of local regulations and harvest sustainably to protect these delicate ecosystems. The Great Lakes region also offers excellent mushroom foraging opportunities. In Michigan's Upper Peninsula, the spring thaw brings forth a flush of oyster mushrooms, their layered clusters adorning the sides of dead or dying hardwood trees. These versatile mushrooms are prized for their delicate flavor and meaty texture, making them a favorite among vegetarians and meat eaters alike. Our journey takes us south again, this time to the west coast of Baja, California, and the Sea of Cortez. Here, spring foraging has a distinctly different character. In the coastal deserts near San Felipe, the fruit of the pitaya dulce cactus begins to ripen in late spring. These sweet, fleshy fruits are a prized find, but foragers must be careful of the cactus's sharp spines. Along the shores of the Sea of Cortez, low tides reveal beds of chocolate clams, a local delicacy that can be harvested with a simple rake or by hand. The unique ecosystem of Baja, California offers other foraging opportunities as well. In the mountains of the interior, wild oregano grows abundantly, its aromatic leaves ready for harvesting in the spring. This wild variety is more pungent than its cultivated counterpart and is highly valued in traditional Mexican cuisine. Closer to the coast, sea purslane thrives in salty soils, offering a succulent, salty green that can be eaten raw or cooked. As we conclude our spring foraging journey across North America, it's important to remember that with the privilege of harvesting wild foods comes the responsibility of doing so ethically and sustainably. Always be certain of your identification before consuming any wild plant or mushroom, and never take more than you need. Many areas have specific regulations regarding foraging, so it's crucial to check local laws and obtain any necessary permits before setting out. Spring foraging offers more than just free food. It provides a way to connect with the natural world, to understand the rhythms of the seasons, and to appreciate the incredible diversity of edible plants and fungi that surround us. Whether you're searching for morels in the forests of the Northeast, harvesting seaweed along the California coast, or gathering wild greens in the Alaskan interior, spring foraging is an adventure that engages all the senses and deepens our relationship with the land. As you explore the world of spring foraging, remember that knowledge is key. Invest in good field guides, join local foraging groups, and consider taking guided tours with experts who can teach you not only what to look for, but how to harvest responsibly. With practice and patience, you'll develop the skills to read the landscape and understand where and when to find nature's hidden edibles. So as the days grow longer and the earth awakens from its winter slumber, grab your basket, put on your hiking boots, and step out into the spring sunshine. The forests, fields, and shorelines of North America are calling, offering a seasonal feast for those willing to seek it out. Happy foraging, and may your spring adventures be fruitful and delicious. Follow Adventure Seeker's Paradise for more incredible journeys.